Hello, and welcome back to Softly Spoken English. I'm Sophia, and I'm very happy to have you here with me today. Today, we're exploring 3 phrases you've probably mixed up before. Used to, be used to, and get used to. They look almost identical, but they work in very different ways, and we'll untangle them naturally through real examples and everyday situations. Here's a sentence that trips up almost everyone at some point. I am used to wake up early. Something about that feels a little off, doesn't it? Used to, be used to, and get used to all look almost identical, but mix them up, and the sentence will sound just a little strange. Honestly, I've heard this confusion so many times, and it makes perfect sense because the 3 expressions really do look alike. So let's fix that together, properly, one phrase at a time. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly which one to reach for, without stopping to think. Let's start with the simplest one. Used to, followed by the base form of a verb, without to be. This talks about a habit or a state that existed in the past, but doesn't exist anymore. I used to live in Chicago. She used to play the piano. Notice the structure, used to, plus the plain verb, no ing, no am, or was. Here's the key feeling behind it. Something changed. You don't do it anymore. I used to smoke means you smoked before, but you've stopped. We used to be close friends means that friendship isn't the same now. There's a quiet sense of before and after built right into the phrase. Let's practice this one. Think of something you used to do as a child, but you don't do anymore. Give yourself a second. Here's a model answer. I used to be scared of the dark, but I'm completely fine with it now. Notice, past habit, then a hint that it's different today. Try another one. Something you used to eat, wear, or watch as a teenager that you'd never choose now. Something like, I used to listen to this one song on repeat every single day. I have no idea why. That's exactly the flavor used to carries. A little nostalgic, a little amused at your past self. Before we move on, 2 quick details about used to that trip people up. I used to live in Paris adds a small extra feeling that it's finished and often a little different from now. Both are correct, they just carry a slightly different emotional weight. Now here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Be used to, followed by a noun or a verb ending in ing, is about familiarity. It describes something that feels normal rather than strange or difficult. I'm used to the noise means the noise feels normal to me now. She was used to working nights means night shifts felt normal to her in the past. The verb be can change with the time, but the meaning stays the same, familiarity. You can use any time you need with this phrase. I was used to the cold when I lived up north. You'll be used to the new team in no time. Same feeling, familiarity, just placed at a different point on the timeline. Notice the structure stays consistent too. Be used to, plus a noun or ing form, never the plain verb. I have to admit, this is the pair that confuses people the most, because used to and be used to look almost identical, just with be added. But the meaning is completely different. One is about a past habit that's finished. The other is about familiarity, whether that familiarity happened before, is happening now, or will happen later. Here's another pair, just to make it stick. I used to have 3 roommates. Past fact, doesn't apply now. I'm used to having roommates. Present comfort, sharing space feels normal to you. Whether that's true today or not is a separate question entirely. This phrase is only about the feeling of familiarity. Let's contrast them directly. I used to live in a big city. That's a fact about the past. You don't live there now. I'm used to living in a big city. That's about today. City life feels normal to you now, whether you've lived there for 1 year or 10. Here's a short conversation to show the difference. Friend 1. Don't you find the traffic here exhausting? Friend 2. Honestly, not really. I'm used to it by now. I barely notice it anymore. Friend 1. I don't think I'd ever get used to it. Did you catch that? A third phrase just slipped in there. That third phrase, get used to, is where most learners actually go wrong, even more than the first two. Get used to, plus a noun or ing form describes a process, becoming familiar with something over time. It's not a state like be used to. It's the journey toward that state. And just like be used to, this phrase can sit at any point on the timeline too. I got used to the time difference after about a month. That's the process, already completed in the past. You'll get used to the accent once you've been here a while. That's the same process, but it hasn't started yet. Think of it this way. Be used to is the destination. Get used to is the road that gets you there. I'm used to the cold now means you've arrived. It feels normal. I'm getting used to the cold means you're still adjusting. You're on the way, but not quite there yet. Let's hear all three side by side in one small story. I used to live somewhere warm. That's the past, a fact that's no longer true. When I moved here, I had to get used to the cold. That's the process, the adjustment period. Now, I'm used to it. It doesn't bother me at all. That's the destination, fully comfortable. Let's practice this contrast. Imagine you started a new job last month. How would you describe the early days using get used to? A model answer: I'm still getting used to the new schedule, but it's getting easier every week. Notice, present, ongoing, not finished yet. Now imagine that same job, but you've been there for 2 years. How would you describe it now using be used to? Something like, I'm completely used to the schedule now. It feels totally normal. Same job, different phrase, because the timing in your life is different. Here's a workplace conversation that uses all three naturally. New employee. How long did it take you to get used to this software? Colleague. Honestly, a few weeks. I used to dread opening it every morning, but now I'm so used to it, I barely think about it. New employee. That's reassuring. I'm still getting used to it myself. Notice something in that exchange. Nobody explained the grammar. They just used the right phrase for the right moment, naturally, because each one describes a different relationship with time. That's really the whole trick here, thinking about time, not memorizing rules. Let's try a quick fill-in style exercise, out loud. I'll give you a sentence with a gap, and I want you to decide which of the three fits. Ready? When I was younger, I'd believe I'd never leave my hometown. If you said used to, you're exactly right. That's a past belief that isn't true anymore. Here's another one. It took me months, but I finally, or the time difference when I moved abroad. If you guessed got used to, that's correct. It's describing the process of adjusting. That one catches a lot of learners because in their language, this idea might use just one simple phrase. One more. After 10 years in this house, I the noisy street outside. I honestly don't hear it anymore. If you said am used to or used to, perfect, that's full familiarity, the destination, not the journey. Let's try a slightly trickier one. Two friends are talking about moving to a new country. Friend 1, are you used to the food yet? Friend 2, getting there. I used to hate spicy food, but I'm slowly getting used to it now. Friend 1, honestly, I don't think I'll ever get used to waking up this early for work, though. That conversation uses all three phrases, in 3 different time relationships, in under 30 seconds, and nothing about it sounds textbook. That's genuinely the goal, sounding natural, not perfect. Let's do one more quick round, a little faster this time. I'll describe 5 short situations, and I want you to decide out loud which phrase fits each one. Ready? Situation 1. Talking about a sport you played as a child but stopped playing years ago. If you said used to, that's exactly right. Situation 2. Describing how comfortable you feel driving on the opposite side of the road after living abroad for 3 years. If you said am used to or I'm used to, perfect. That's full familiarity by now. Situation 3. Describing the first few weeks of learning to use chopsticks when it still felt awkward. If you said was getting used to or getting used to, that's the process, still in motion. Situation 4. A grandparent talking about how life was different when they were young decades ago. That one almost always calls for used to, describing something that was completely normal then, but isn't the reality now. Situation 5. Someone who just started working from home, describing how strange the quiet felt at first, but how it's slowly starting to feel normal. That's getting used to again, right in the middle of the adjustment, not finished yet. Let's add 2 more, this time reaching into the past and the future. Situation 6. Someone describing how strange a new manager's style felt during their first month in the role, years ago, before they eventually adjusted. That calls for was getting used to, the process, happening back then. And situation 7. Reassuring a nervous friend who's about to move to a new country next month, telling them it will feel normal eventually. That's, you'll get used to it, the process, not started yet. Notice something interesting across all 7. The phrase you choose depends entirely on where you are in that timeline, finished, ongoing, or fully settled, whether that timeline sits in the past, the present, or the future. There's one more natural pattern worth knowing, because you'll hear it constantly. English speakers love pairing get used to with never to talk about something that just won't feel normal, no matter how much time passes. I don't think I'll ever get used to this weather. I've never really gotten used to early mornings, even after years of trying. That combination carries real emotional weight. It's not just grammar. It's honestly admitting something stubbornly stays strange. Here's a mistake worth mentioning directly, because it's incredibly common. I don't think I'll ever get used to this weather. I've never really gotten used to early mornings, even after years of trying. That combination carries real emotional weight. It's not just grammar. It's honestly admitting something stubbornly stays strange. Here's a mistake worth mentioning directly, because it's incredibly common. Many learners say things like, I am used to wake up early, using the plain verb after be used to. It's a completely understandable mistake, because the 3 structures look so similar. The fix is simple once you see it clearly. After be used to or get used to, always use a noun or the ing form. I'm used to waking up early. I'm getting used to waking up early. Never the plain verb after be or get. That one small rule solves most of the confusion. Let's do one more round of practice, combining everything. Think about a change you're currently going through in your own life. A new city, a new job, a new routine, anything real. Try describing it with all three phrases, the way we just heard in that last conversation. Here's a model version, just to give you the shape of it. I used to think I'd never move abroad. When I first arrived, I had to get used to everything, the language, the food, the pace of life. Now, honestly, I'm used to it, and going back home almost feels strange. Sometimes I even wonder if I'll ever fully get used to being back. Notice the emotional arc hidden inside that structure. Past certainty, then struggle and adjustment, then comfort. These three phrases aren't just grammar, they quietly tell the story of change, which is honestly a nice thing to notice about English. Here's one more scene, this time between two family members catching up after months apart. Mother: how's the new apartment? Are you used to the noise from the street yet? Daughter: getting there. I used to live somewhere so quiet, this still surprises me sometimes. Mother: it took your father years to get used to city noise when we moved. Daughter: really? He seems so used to it now, I can't imagine him anywhere else. I quite like that exchange. 3 phrases, 3 different moments in time, and it still sounds like two people just talking. One small tip before we wrap up. Native speakers often blend used to together in fast speech, so it can sound almost like used to. Don't worry about copying that perfectly. Just don't be surprised if it sounds slightly different from how it looks written down. Here's one more everyday scene, this time about technology, because honestly, we're all adjusting to something new all the time. Person 1: do you like the new phone? Person 2: it's fine. I'm still getting used to the camera settings. They moved everything around. Person 1: I used to hate updates for exactly that reason. Person 2: same, but I'm slowly getting used to this one. Give me another week and I'll probably be completely used to it. That's such a normal little exchange, and all 3 phrases just slot right in. Let's try one more kind of practice, spotting the mistake. I'll say a sentence with an error hiding in it, and I want you to figure out what's wrong before I explain it. Ready? She's used to work long hours, so the new schedule doesn't bother her. Did you catch it? It should be used to working, not used to work, because after be used to, we always need a noun or an ing form, never the plain verb. Here's another one. When I was a kid, I used to walk to school every day. That one's about spelling and pronunciation, not meaning. In the past form, it's used to, with a D, even though in fast speech it can sound like there's no D there at all. One more. It's taking me a while, but I used to the new keyboard now. That sentence is actually missing a whole phrase. It should be, I'm getting used to the new keyboard, because this describes an ongoing process, not a finished state. Honestly, that particular mistake is one of the most common ones I hear, dropping getting entirely. One last one, since we just talked about the past and future. I get used to it last year, and now it feels completely normal. Did you catch that one? It should be, I got used to it last year, using the past form of get, not the present. Small word, easy to miss, but it changes the timeline completely. Let's do a short recap. Used to plus the plain verb for a past habit that isn't true anymore. Be used to – plus a noun or ing for something that feels normal to you now. Get used to plus a noun or ing for the process of becoming familiar with something over time. Here's something else you can do this week besides the exercises. Next time you watch or read something in English, listen for these 3 phrases. They show up constantly in shows, interviews, everyday conversation. Once you start noticing them, you'll realize how often native speakers reach for them without thinking twice. Here's your challenge for this week. Pick one real change happening in your life right now and try describing it using all 3 phrases, the way we practiced today, even if it's just in your head while you're walking somewhere. It only takes a minute, and it's genuinely the fastest way to make this stick. Now it's your turn. Answer these questions in English, using your own words, and share one of them in the comments if you'd like. Take a moment with each one. There's no rush, and there's no single right answer here. First, think of something you used to do as a kid, but don't do anymore. Write a sentence using used to. Second, is there something in your daily life now that felt strange or difficult at first, but you're completely used to it now? Describe it using be used to. Third, think of a change you're currently adjusting to. A new job, a new city, a new routine, anything at all. Write a sentence using get used to. Which one of these 3 did you find hardest to use correctly before today? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which one trips people up the most. See you in the next episode.